Hi guys, Bill here. Alright, first up a wee spoiler. Now, this is an invitation to chew on a red pill. Mostly I'm going to be talking about life choices and responsibility, so if that's not your thing, then you're not going to like this vid. Maslow just hit me with a misogyny charge right now. However, if you hear me out, then you might just see what's behind some of the MRM's objections to the current state of Western society. Take a look at this diagram. It's Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. It's a psychological diagram of happiness. You can pause the video if you want a better view. Now, it's an old framework. It's been superseded by more complex modern descendants, but I like it. The first thing about it is it actually works. Yeah, I came across this in basic training. That was about in 23 years. There wasn't a personal admin issue any of my girls or boys brought to me that I couldn't visualise using this pyramid. The second thing is that it's simple. Anybody can grasp how this thing works. Although, if your problem child isn't particularly gifted upstairs, it might be an idea keeping the fact that you're psychologically evaluating them to yourself. I've probably said it before, I'm not very pink and fluffy. You know, hugs and tissues really aren't my thing. But sometimes it takes somebody who's outside of your thought bubble to point to what's missing in your life. And this is a useful tool for finding out what that might be. Now, if you look into the low bar, there's a link to Betsy Stevenson and Justin Wolver's working paper 14969 titled The Paradox of Declining Female Happiness. Now, they published it in 2009, and by 2010 it had kicked off a bit of a shitstorm. Because basically, the author said that women weren't happy with a lot in spite of everything that feminism had done for them. Cue lots of not particularly scientific criticism, challenging their findings about women. No one seemed to notice that men are less happy than women though. Anyway, the report noted that the decline in male happiness was less than the female decline, which was completely misrepresented by the British tabloids, obviously. Men are happier than women, generally the title there. A word to the wise about the British press. The lying scum. You know, check anything they write, double check it if it involves politics, triple check it if it involves science, or better yet, just disregard everything they ever say to you. Anyway, that's the reason that I'm giving you the full 48-page report instead of linking to a newspaper article written by some journal too fucking lazy to read it for himself. Now, have you heard of Robert Briffault? His work included a 3-volume study on how women, not men, were responsible for the societal structure of the human mind. Now, Girl Writes What seems to be moving towards similar conclusions, and I'm inclined to agree. There's links to both in the low bar. There's an internet version of Briffault's law that's popular, but it's the kind of thing your dad would have said to you years ago. Now obviously, if you've been separated from contact with your father, this might come as a bit of a shock. Patriarchy is not. I'll read it for you. The female, not the male, determines all the conditions of the animal family. Where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male, no association takes place. There's a few corollaries. Past benefit provided by the male doesn't provide for continued or future association. Any agreement where the male provides a current benefit in return for a promise of future association is null and void as soon as the male has provided the benefit. C1. A promise of future benefit has limited influence on current or future association, with the influence inversely proportionate to the length of time until the benefit will be given, but directly proportionate to the degree to which the female trusts the male. All very wordy, but what it means is, if you're going to have a relationship with a woman, bring home the bacon. And following on from that, whether they learned it or whether it's innate, Western women are encouraged to practice hypergamy. There's magazines that are full of images of rich, single, devastatingly attractive men whom the readers are encouraged to approve of. But the same magazines and the women's pages in the tabloids, they constantly attack less suitable males. So you get to hear about deadbeat dads, you get to see less favoured celebrities in unflattering paparazzi shots. Some magazines will talk about mythical male attitudes, some of them even talk about rape culture. And there's a whole lot else, all very negative stuff. Now if you think I'm exaggerating, just borrow a couple of old celebrity or fashion magazines, take off your Hillary Clinton glasses for an hour, see if I'm alright. They give you a plan of action though, so it's not all bad. Guaranteed diets and lots of beauty tips. See, you can and you should look like the celebrity women they feature because you're worth it. And the best thing is, no man's allowed to make judgment calls on you. You know, you can have any lifestyle you want. You do whatever you want with your body, girl. Slut shaming is cowardly and it's mean, and only a true misogynist would even dare to bring the subject up. Now if you want a baby, you don't worry. The father will pay for it. And if he doesn't pay for it, the state will pick up the tab. It's your choice. A thing I believe is innate in most women is the instinct towards hypoagency. That's not because girls are bossy, although generally they are, but it's because of the enormous emphasis the feminist movement places on opportunity, not equal opportunity. You won't see them complaining about closed shops and old boys networks amongst coal miners and sewage workers, but they want the glass ceiling removed. It's not just for a few talented individuals, they want everybody to have a crack, every female to have a crack at that top job. You hear the shout goes up, you know, why aren't more of the top CEOs female? Why aren't there more politicians female? And there's plans for affirmative action all over the place. And you've got to ask yourself, why would you lust after that high stress, high pressure, life consuming position? I think it's because consciously or otherwise, they know that the apex dweller has got the ultimate expression of hypoagency. Everyone does their bidding. The whole world comes to them. This is the true matriarch. And that position should, hell, it must be held by a woman. Anything less is just intolerable to them. But that's not why they're unhappy. Everything feminists have ever demanded has been given to them. But those things weren't the things that they really wanted in the first place. See, modern post-World War II feminism has Marxist roots. Now, as taught in college or as educated in Feminism 101 blogs, even as broadcast here on YouTube, it's ideologically driven. But the ideology is a borrowed one. They took it from a very middle-class struggle against a hugely theoretical class-based oppression. Marxism didn't achieve any of its aims in the West. Why do you think feminism should succeed using exactly the same system? On top of which, to give women what they want, you have to know what women want in the first place. It's not money and it's not baubles. Those things are just an illusion. Now, if you're under 30 years of age, the chances are you have never held your month's, much less a year's, salary in your hand. It's just numbers on a server somewhere. You know, the ATM will give you a few tokens for smaller objects, you know, food and clothes, say. But your bills and your major purchases, your car, your house, whatever, that's electronic. And as for baubles, we've got riches beyond the imagination of history's greatest rulers. We've got astonishing talisman that lets talk across seas and deserts. We've got chariots that can cross continents in days. We've got an infinite supply of food and drink, and we've got a huge luxurious shelter. Now, you can always want more. There's always somebody who wants more, but how much more? But it's not that either. Let's get Maslow's pyramid out again. Look at tier 1. You get most of those things. but it's only really a given if you've got somebody to share your bed. Tier 2, well, you'll achieve Tier 2 a lot easier with a partner. Tier 3 almost requires a partner. Now Tier 4 could be supplied externally, but remember, the magazines, the media, the television channels, even YouTube is giving you an admonishment that you have to have it all. If you don't match up to the knockout 30-something with a millionaire in their arm, a hugely successful career, but less successful than his, but with potential to be more than successful than his, and you need several perfect doe-eyed children going in tow, if you haven't got that, well, you're not anything special, love. In fact, to be honest, you're a bit of a failure. You're letting the side down. I mean, look at all these wonderful celebrity women in Cosmo. And if you're buying into all that feminist horseshit, there is absolutely no way you will ever reach Tier 5. Now mull it over for a few minutes before you start screaming misogynist. They lied to you. These superwomen in the magazines didn't get that way by trying a diet that works, slapping on some cheap makeup, and banging half the football team en route to the quarterback. They work a 24-hour-a-day exercise and diet regime. They've got security to keep the paparazzi away once every month. It's a full-time job for them, and they work bloody hard at it. The apex CEOs, they weren't chosen because they were men, or because they went to the best schools. Lots of other men did all of that and got nowhere close. They're there because that company or that position is their life, it's their body, it's their soul. These bastards aren't even human anymore. Be honest, do you want to be the person that's putting 1,000 people out of work on Christmas Eve? Or do you want to send work abroad to factories that are maintaining slave wages that are borderline lethal in standards of health and efficiency? A decision like that could be yours every single week. Yeah, just sign on the dotted line in RH negative. You can't have it all, snowflake. You can have anything a man has, but it's not free. You're miserable because this isn't real. And I'm sorry to disillusion you, but PZ is not Santa. But there's a way ahead. See, the propaganda machine's out there, it's oiled and it's ready and it's running. It wouldn't take a whole lot to change the message. You know that not every man can be Matthew McConaughey, but pretty much every man out there can be just as strong, just as sweet, and just as supportive as his dad. You catch a man young enough and you can dress him up any way you want. The thing is, we make great pets, we really do. We're all house trained and everything. We'll protect you, we'll support you, we'll love you, and we'll try and help you realise all your dreams and reach your fullest potential. You don't have to hide the good men that are out there in plain view. Start talking about the positives about them, not the negatives. You change the message and a few points of law, and we could all be happier than your wildest dreams. But there's one last wee part of Bruffon's law that I left out. Unfortunately, men aren't stupid. It doesn't take long to figure you out. And in spite of all that mystique the magazines are telling you about, men can walk away as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Later on.